Well, I just want to point out the one key difference because although it seems like we're watching the tape over from game number 2, this is indeed game 3 between the two teams. Biggest difference, of course, is going to be NaVi have taken the step to ban out the Lina that Team Empire have gone for both games. So we're going to need to see a different hero for Depressed Kid, while it looks like the supporting cast, at least of DK Hoodwink, is going to be the same. I'm sure, much to the chagrin of Alvaro, the biggest Deviant stan here on the panel. NaVi. Oh, Depressed Kid Invoker. I'm hyped. I'm so hyped.
Yeah,
This is going to be such a good match against the Gyre Iroh, especially. I think we're in for a treat in game 3.
If people don't know about this Depressed Kid Invoker, it's his most played hero in the leagues by some margin. Team Empire are going to pick up that Spectre yet again. Very happy to rely on that. Where NaVi, their third game in a row on the Gyrocopter, this time pairing it up with the IO for that classic combo. I believe this is our first IO of the qualifiers. Avo, talk to me a little bit about IO and why we've maybe not been seeing them as much as we used to.
I mean, some teams really like it. You know, Nigma is one of them, for example, in Western Europe, where you have to ban the IO because they enable a lot of picks. Some teams don't feel as comfortable using it. The thing about IO is that usually the strats are very predictable, and he's a hero that can easily be countered. In fact, I think this game he actually got pretty countered with a Spectre. It's not easy to play him either. Well, depends on who you ask. Like, Crit, I remember 3-4 years ago, told me after the rework that IO is for noobs now and anyone can play, and he was super sad. But I think the hero still requires a level of coordination that not all teams are comfortable with. Soneko was an IO spammer back in the day, so I'm not too afraid of this idea. I think it's just a pocket strat here.
Good IO player. Last picks and last bans here for both of these two teams. It will be in the TI qualifiers, one of these teams' last ever pick. So can they? Let's hype these picks up to the absolute maximum. Arvo, talk to me wildly about what NaVi could be picking here.
Oh, about NaVi. So you're in the mid lane. You're up against the Invoker. I think mostly against Invoker, you try to ignore. I would like to see the classic Doom, honestly. A very Eastern European staple. Really solid against Spectre, pretty good against DK. Ignores the lane against Invoker. Usually against Invoker, you either want something like, for example, Viper's pretty solid against Quas-Wex that can outlast him, or you just want a hero that ignores him. Mostly melee mid laners like Konka, DK. Tiny actually is pretty solid too, though I'm not the biggest fan of it in this lineup. And again, I think the Doom's pretty good here. Not a no-one hero, though.
And Rich, you talked to me about Team Empire. They've got 2 minutes here to decide on a pick.
Sure.
What do you think they're going to be going for?
I don't think they're going to wait the full 2 minutes here because I think right now, Alvaro said, when you asked him about the Team Empire history, these guys do have a play style. And I think right now they are going for a draft that allows them to fulfill it here, as this last pick is going to be the Ench yet again for Vanscore. Should have predicted that one because they did need to support. What this play style is, it's Patushara with the supports and the mid laner making space early, Smiley Knight on this very classic win condition. They're going to let him farm until he's absolutely huge, and then they're just going to throw everything they have at NaVi, just like they did last game. And I'm really looking forward to this Invoker. It's a really, really fun Invoker, the Quas-Wex Invoker, usually for Depressed Kid. And I'm glad we get to see it here in what could be their last game here in the TI qualifiers.
This end was so impressive last game as well. So I think this would really help stem early NaVi aggression and get them out the laning stage in a good state, which is where they want to be. So NaVi are probably looking for a mid laner here. I imagine a game dominator, someone who can carry them through the mid lane. Would you agree, Ava?
Yeah, someone who can do. You're looking for someone who can either mirror the Invoker's rotations or beat him in lane and not care, right? So, for example, I was thinking about No One's Heroes, and like DP, one of his favorites, is okay here, but you might be doubting yourself because you just lost last game with that hero. That's always a psychological thing for players. They lose one game with the hero and they lose confidence in it.
I knew it. I should have said it. I knew it. I knew it was going to be a storm.
I knew it was going to be a storm. That's a big claim.
I didn't want to interrupt you because I thought you were going to get there. I'm sorry.
Just
but
shout
it's this. I'll shout it next time because now I seem like I'm just making this up. I love the Storm Spirit pick. I think it's a bit dangerous because while you can feed on this Hoodwink and this Ench to the Storm Spirit, obviously Storm's just going to be eating them alive, you do actually start to really struggle against these cores once they get online. It's not the easiest burst for no one, but the lane is really nice. It's someone that can match the rotations like you're talking about, and it's something that can definitely bring plenty of pressure here to Team Empire when they're going to be at their weakest.
Ava, do you agree? Do you like this NaVi draft a lot?
Yeah, I think it's a good Storm pick. I agree. They were actually also missing last game the consistent catch. That's why I was a bit doubtful about that pick because of that reason. Like you're missing that simple stun that you can just pull off, and Storm is perfect for that. Brings a bunch of slow with the Overload and Electric Vortex. I think it's pretty solid. But I liked Empire's draft last time a lot, so I think this time it's very similar. I think even have a bit of a steroid for Spectre this game. I would say it could be anyone's game this time, honestly.
Hopefully the Storm can put some pressure on this Team Empire team. It can certainly burst down this Enchantress and Hoodwink, but we're going to head into the game. Can Na'Vi whip up a Storm with the first pick of this hero in the TI qualifiers, or will Team Empire hoodwink them into elimination? Guys, take us away as we go into this vital elimination game.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I don't know, man. This is going to be close. It's I'm really looking forward to this game. Last game was extremely hype. Everyone kind of fighting to the last tooth and nail. That last fight, especially in the mid lane in the river, where Lina just barely ends up dying, was absolutely crucial for Empire. I want to believe so badly in the Depressed Kid Invoker, but this Storm Spirit pick does really make life difficult for him. It's something, like you said, can mirror his rotations and can even turn the tide of these early ganks out from the Quaswex Invoker.
Something I also really like about the Storm is Carl. Obviously, you usually want bio. Very back in the day was also the flash track. I think so. Pretty nice. In between to give him more mana. But it's a really solid pick here into the mid game when you give him all the healing that he requires. You can heal him up between fights as well, which is nice, and that way you always have that diversity for Navi's options. Even you can go for relocate ganks in the Storm, not necessarily, but you can initiate with a Gyro, for example, and then the Storm goes in with the Bolt Lightning. All of a sudden you have 4 heroes with only 1 really showing, right? I like this draft much more than the last one, that's for sure.
I agree, and I think both teams acknowledging the very fragile state that this series currently sits in. First game, you know, 5-man smoke on smoke, right? No one really too eager to get into a fight. Second game, Team Empire with a radically different approach. They 5-man smoke, and they set the trap for Na'Vi. They get 2 kills to start this one off. This time, neither team smoking. No fights over the bounty runes. Everyone just wanting to get as stable as a start and looking to progress into the laning stage immediately. So you can tell, man, the pressure is on for both of these two teams.
Yep. Neither team wants to obviously give their chance for the close qualifiers. I think the pressure for Na'Vi though must be immense right now.
Oh,
I think what you mentioned was pretty accurate before. Like so many people just want you to lose. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen the comments.
It's true.
We read chat, we read Reddit. So many people are just full on hating because of what they did to Gambit. I think there's a justification to be made. But, you know, like I get it, you want to defend Gambit, but it also sucks for Na'Vi to have to play with so much pressure. And they probably want to prove those guys wrong.
Of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, plus not to mention, you know, it feels like if we're going to turn this into a whole WWE storyline thing, right, and blow it out of proportion, it's like they're going to be the heel here to what is the Young Bucks team spirit. You know, you got the wild cards, Rezo on Hellraisers, who's been previously a TI finalist, so close, right, to lifting that Aegis, now looking for his chance back in these qualifiers. I mean, the storylines as they continue to brew, it is absolutely scrumptious here. And I think we're in for one heck of an appetizing game 3 here.
Yeah, I heard that Ramses met up with Smiley Knight in the locker room, so they saw each other. He says, "Your pile driver ain't anything. You know, you don't know how to place carry." And then Smiley Knight said, "Watch me in the ring," and you know they're duking it out here. Let's see who's better.
There they go. I love it. I love it, man. We'll see here how it continues to develop. We'll talk a little bit now. I want to talk a bit about this Io Gyro, right? Because you brought up, hold that thought, EMP mid lane. Oh, it's just to burn a bit of mana out from no one. Just casual harass out from the Quaswex Invoker. And we'll get to this mid lane matchup here in a bit, because we've got a couple different interesting itemizations that we could go for, both for the Invoker and Storm alike. But I love Io Gyro because it's a combo that we're not too afraid of seeing, or we're not too It's not too rare in Eastern Europe, especially because one of the teams that is very keen to pick it and actually get a lot of bans out from the IO specifically because of this is PuckChamp, right? They love running IO Gyro. They always like to pick it in the second phase if it's going to be a good game for it, and they show us the real strengths of it as top lane. They are going to be able to get first blood now onto Roger. Ramses had the spear ready, but couldn't do much after the bonk was already thrown.
In the bottom lane, they try to do the same thing for Sayu, though. Let's see if they can kill off the little squirrel. But Petushar is doing a good job mitigating whatever impact the Rocket Barrage is going to have. So there's no way they can finish off Sayu. And it's similar to last game, honestly. I don't think the IO makes much of a difference compared to last support. What was it that Gyro was paired with last game?
A tree.
Gotcha.
Treant. Yeah, I mean, Treant deals more damage, so I guess you can harass the DK more, but it's not like DK is going to be able to kill V2. The armor is still pretty good, and Soneka should be able to heal him back up just fine.
That's true. The reason I was going to bring it up is because I think game one, we went for an incredibly fast gyro build, right? It was, first item Diffusal into, I don't remember what the second item was, but first item Diffusal compared to second game, which was our very, very classic, I'm playing for the late game gyrocopter, right? Maelstrom into Ags, into BKB, Satanic, Daedalus, right? Very, very classic gyro build. With the Wisp, he is going to kind of just follow him around, give him overcharge. This is at least how I see PuckChamp always use it. And he has the freedom to go kind of for whatever build he feels like is most necessary. And because your farming speed is going to be increased immensely by this overcharge, just constantly from Soneko, we're going to get the farm to go for whatever build. So it's going to be a really interesting game to see what VTune decides to go for first. For now, it seems like Maelstrom into Ags. We'll see if he decides to change his course of action, depending on how the lanes go.
Okay, we'll see. For now, the mid lane matchup went as probably expected, right? Where Storm just gets an insane amount of farm, honestly. You can't really match a Storm when it comes to last hitting, and no one even has the advantage that you can go into the jungle and be efficient about that. I don't think Invoker really has that option to take the small camp as quickly, but the Invoker usually is faster with rotations. The issue that always happens with the Invoker quads Vex, and we've seen this a couple of times, is when do you get your first earn charge to it so you can gank? That's the biggest deterrent to the Invoker speed.
Yeah, and I think off of that, I'm going to be interested to see how Depressed Kid decides to itemize the hero. I think when he last played versus a Templar Assassin, he did end up going into the, what's it called, the Witchblade, right? Just to be able to get a little bit more damage in the fight, to be able to get the refraction, because the draft wasn't really well suited towards fighting that Templar Assassin. This time around, and I will say normally, Depressed Kid does like to upgrade into the Vessel. Versus a Wisp, I could see a lot of value in that.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. I mean, the support Invoker, I think, is really valuable, because I don't feel like you've dealt with the Spectre well. Storm is
Speaking of,
okay.
Goes,
oh. Yeah, there we go. Depressed Kid, actually. He's going to try to catch V-Tune. It's going to be a good kill. Goodbye to V-Tune. Depressed Kid, rotating even sooner than you expect. Not even the Urn. This is how you actually surprise the enemy team. They're obviously expecting you to rotate on the Urn. It's the normal Invoker timing. Depressed Kid doesn't care. He goes against the meta. That's why his name is Depresskid.girl name, to make fun of those players that has the girlfriend's name on their username as well.
Yeah.
This guy, he's against the system.
And,
he's raging
and
against the machine.
And just to highlight like how strong of an Invoker player is, like how well he knows his timings, he deliberately TPs because he comes back mid lane. Sure, he's against a wagon. Mid lane, though, Vanscore in trouble, as no one will be able to quickly zip and zap him down. But real quick, Depresskid knows he can't spend too long going for these kills. It's a quick pickoff, a TP, and then he's immediately back to the mid lane. Doesn't miss any XP. His tower only takes 5 or 6 licks out from the siege wagon. Totally manageable here. And now he's got this urn, and he might be off to the races yet again here with the Invis rune. Down bottom is going to be where he's going to end up going.
All right, let's see. Once again, this time with the urn. So this kill, honestly, even if you kill the IO, it's worth it just to get the urn charges here. And Depressed Kid. With the Invis rune, they're not going to expect him at all. Because obviously they're expecting him to, if anything, ghost walk in. So Soneko might feel quite safe. Depressed Kid, how long does he want to spend in this bottom lane?
He's missing.
You don't see him mid. Yeah, probably called that. You're like, it's probably going bottom. IO is the easiest kill. One of the weaknesses, of course, of having, or I guess strengths of having a Mars up top, right? Which is that as Empire, you can't really afford to go there and get that kill. It's not that easy. So you want to go for the easy one down bottom against the Gyrocopter instead.
Yeah, and Roger has some pretty serious counter initiation versus an Invoker. The disruption super annoying versus your combos, and makes it a bit difficult to execute those cleanly. So they are fighting a bit down bottom. I do have to say, I think we've had Petushara game 1 on the Mars, game 2 DK versus a Gyrocopter all 3 games. This time, I would say he's developed very, very nicely. 33 and 10 compared to game 1 where Petushara got completely basically canceled in the lane, didn't he? He didn't really get a whole lot of farm in. He was pretty slow to the first item. And now going for, again, the 1-1-3 build. There's the points in Elder Dragon form. He's really adapted quite nicely here to the Gyrocopter matchup of Vtune.
Yes, he has, and he's had. I mean, I think the support matchup also is helping him because, like I said, they don't have as much pressure. So at least he's capable of holding his own in this lane. Even if he's not going to kill the Gyrocopter, he'll at least be able to farm himself and even put some pressure into the tower. He's so happy now. He's like, "Oh my God, guys, the damage is going to stay forever. They can't heal that tower. Glorious Dragon Knight is back."
That's a good point here. That is a good point. For now, they may make another play towards Vtune, but in the mid lane, there's the ball, lightning, EMP, tornado is not going to catch no one though, but he still has to burn a lot of mana just to avoid it anyway. Vanscore taking a second death here to the Storm Spirit. And I spoke that no one's got a couple of different builds he could go for. He could decide to be a little bit more of a space maker, look to tank a couple of these spells with the first item, Kaya, into the Kaya and Sanj we occasionally see. He is going to go into this aggressive Storm Spirit. I like to see it here. Orchid already queued up. He's got the double Sage's Mask, so he's not really hard committed yet, but I think it would be weird to see him switch builds here at this stage.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Orchid is solid because we were pointing out the lack of catch last game. I think you're solving for that, right? Just getting him more of it. You might struggle with that build. Like, they can kill you relatively easily with a Dragon Tail plus Hoodwink existing. But I can see no one just wanting to play aggressively and trying to create more space early. You have really good global ganking potential with the Relocate. I'm not opposed to this build. The idea of trying to set the tempo is something you kind of missed last game. Maybe Navi wants to make up for that fact. I'm assuming with this draft, since it's so similar, honestly, both drafts are kind of similar to last game. You probably are going through last game and thinking, we should have done this, we should have done that, and now doing exactly those things that you lacked. But of course, these small changes in picks might deviate from your game plan.
Absolutely. And I like that. I like that from Navi, as here we go, smoking up with no one, because last time, no one's a great DP player. Absolutely not denying that. But I think you don't bring the same amount of pressure as an early Storm can, especially with that first item comparison. Yule's usually first on the DP compared to an Orchid. It's just the aggression levels are off the chart when you compare the two in favor of the Storm. Smoke's not going to work out here for him, though, as he returns back to the mid lane. And Mega Stack being farmed by Vtune, who is going for the exact same build. So I could only assume, because Ramses already has the, Hooded Defiance? No, Phase Boots first, which is the casual Ring of Health, pardon me. I can only assume then they thought that the difference maker needed to come maybe from a little bit more tempo in the mid lane, as that Invis rune is going to be scouted by the ward, which just expired. There is a gank coming, though, up from Empire, trying to interrupt the farming, and they will be able to catch the Wisp. He does have no tether, or no time to use it anyway, so he will be very quickly picked off. Going to go a long way towards Prescott, trying to finish off the Vessel, as now no one looking to try and punish the invaders, but there's not enough lockdown here for the Prescott. He easily gets off the Ghost Walk. They might have to get up Vanscore, but Smiling Knight already joining the fight. Already has a Blade Mail active, as they have been able to snipe the Gyrocopter down with the Sharpshooter. Arena's going to come through. No one's got a little bit of damage left here, but Smiling Knight alive on a hair of HP. The last ball lightning into Force 1. Only one stack of the Shadow Poison. Is he going to fall? No. Alive on 30 HP. No one with not enough mana to continue chasing, despite the Wisp coming through, means that Team Empire will get a free 2 kills, as well as interrupting the farm on the Gyrocopter.
Man, watching a true Eastern European Dota is so hype. That was literally barely getting out. The Blade Mail on point, really fighting the moment pretty much he got it, rushing it as soon as possible. And that was pretty much what got him the Gyrocopter kill. Honestly though, what stood out for me in that fight, as per usual, is the Prescott's Invoker. He has 3 spells and he uses them to such great effect on the Quaswex Invoker. Managing to get that initial kill to begin with, the counter initiation there, saving the Spectre. He is going to be going for the Vessel, as you suggested earlier, so there's going to be a support-ish Invoker, not the Witchblade that we sometimes see in the Prescott. I love this. I think you already have a really hard carry to fight around, so you don't need to be the second core. In fact, you can even use DK as your second core, because he's well farmed as well. Empire is looking strong right now.
He is Blink Dagger on the way, so I think Empire with relatively short cooldowns really just limited. Well, of course, they won't have Haunt yet again to go in if they want, but we will have this Blink Dagger for Petushara. Game 2, this Blink Dagger was absolutely crucial here for Petushara. He has it even faster this time around, as he will now group up with Seiyu, looking for the smoke play. No one is going to be able to pick up a DD rune. It's going to cost him the smoke and maybe even his life. As Petushara is on the way in, there's a relocate. Disruption from the high ground, courtesy of Roger at least, will prevent them from going any further onto No One. But a scary couple of seconds there for him, as this time the blink reveal from Petushara is not going to be able to net them the 3 kills that it got them last time.
Well, they're going to fight the Storm, though. Can they kill him now? Dragon Tail is set up for this kill, and No One will lose his killing spree. Even the tips!
Instant tips.
Ooh, instant tips. That is going to tilt him a bit. And this reminds me back to something that Sumail said on a panel a long time ago. I think it was like TI6 or so when he was on panel. Talking about No One. Where No One is such a good, precise player that when he makes these small misplays or when he dies like this, it frustrates him to no end. So Empire might know this. They're actually playing the psychological game. Let's see if they're actually muted, much like PuckChamp. But Tushara, there's the disruption. Ramses, okay, good arena, but Tushara's not going to get close to the wall. EMP is giving him a lot of space. But Tushara might still die. Oh, no, they don't pin him to the wall. They do have the Holy Missile, however, and the God's Rebuke actually deletes him. Seiyu also in trouble, trying to scurry himself to safety. Impossible, Seiyu will also die here with Vanscore. Trying to run away, but a Storm is a bit too fast for Vanscore to outrun. So Empire will lose 3, and Navi will recover very elegantly here in the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. Very gracefully even, I would say, right? Empire sticking around a little bit too long, and Navi very keen to punish that. As Ramses, yet another Vessel Charge committed here. Good disruption from Roger. Again, super annoying for the Invoker to play into this. Is going to easily save his life. Blink Dagger nearly ready for Ramses, so he's able to make these plays here without the Blink yet ready. Looks like we're going to group up here for a secondary smoke and look to fight around the Haunt. Send Vanscore in as bait. Try and play the mental game here. No One has been very keen to kill him. 5 kills already on No One compared to the 4 deaths of Vanscore. We can do the math there and assume No One's gotten the majority of the kills onto him. For now, though, the smoke play is going to find Ramses yet again for the power rune. Dragon Tail in from Petushara. He is invis, but underneath the Sentry Ward, he will be taken down and killed.
And that's a nice little kill there, in addition to a tower if they can muster it. With the Alacrity, his Dragon Knight pushes even faster. Honestly, this game compared to the last one, it feels like Petushara has been released. His pushing power really working out. Grenade at the bottom lane trying to take the Smiling Knight, but he's not going to survive. Depressed Kid now trying to outrun Navi, who already has a dust ready. Depressed Kid's like, what for? I'm not going to use my Ghost Walk. I'm just running away.
Fantastic relocate. Roger might even be able to escape out from this. No. Ult Snap is there in time. Alacrity for Depressed Kid, and Roger without any mana, not without any HP, will be sent back to the fountain. And this is actually what you were talking about in the early game, or I guess when we were waiting to get into the game, right, was the fact that you can very quickly set up for kills here. Roger, all he needed to do there was get the Disruption and the Demonic Purge onto Spectre, and you immediately have 3 cores fighting onto Spec.
Invoker could be in trouble here, though. And they actually even spear the DK because the Depressed Kid was already dead. Petushara tried to block that spear, didn't work out, but at least he's able to TP out in time. A bit too tanky. Alright, these kills can't happen, though. You're giving them... Like, Navi now has catch with the Storm, so you can't really be this confident. And talking about this catch, they find a squirrel. She's been silenced. Is that going to be enough damage from the Orchid? Yes, it will, as No One gets yet another kill, showcasing why they picked him the Storm in this game.
Yeah, No One he's on it right now, man. Level 2 bot Lightning already, so now he's going to be able to close the gap even faster, a bit more efficiently, more damage coming through from him now with this Orchid. It's going real nicely for him. He's not even counter-tipped anyone yet, you know, so he's really saving that one for a good moment, of course, after he did die going for the power rune. Depressed Kid now, though, looking to keep the pressure up, will be scouted by the Sentry Ward. Roger trying to get off the self-disruption is going to be stopped in his tracks by Petushara, who's there with the Dragon Tail. Ramsey's unable to counter-initiate despite having the Blink Dagger, will just back away.
Okay, so small support kill, not that big a deal, but what you need to start doing as Empire is being a bit more wary of your positioning when the Storm is available to gank you, because you're giving Navi some really nice counter kills, and they still have a really solid team fight. This time your Invoker makes up for it a bit more, but the Mars is still a threat coming into this mid game, and Empire only has a DK as your offlaner. Once these become 5-on-5 engagements and the Spectre's not online, especially if Prescott hasn't transitioned to a bit of a Quasi-Exort Invoker yet, you're going to struggle to find this. So these ganks are very important to keep Navi at bay, make sure they can't force these engagements.
They know, though. No one's pushing any of these side lanes. All the waves are quite pushed in, but not taking any chances. Vitoon really at quite a crucial moment. He's just about to finish up his Ag Scepter already here on the Gyrocopter. Ramses as well, ready to counter-initiate as the scan will let them know that there were some Empire heroes on the way on over. We even committed Elder Dragon form for this on Petushara. Looks like we won't be able to get anything out from this. Patience from Navi here paying off. Kid, he will persist, going back in with the Ghost Walk, as they have seen Seneko and Vitoon both top lane. Just missing the Storm Spirit, but underneath the Tier 1 tower, he could TP in relatively quickly. Underneath the Sentries, Depressed Kid, but no one there to give him vision on him. Vanscore now is going to go ahead and walk on up, look for these kills. They know where they're at. Ramses is going to be the target. There's going to be the ward placed down and the jump in. The haunt instantly there. Got Roger. He's dead immediately. Ramses as well, burned of mana and of life. It's Empire deleting 2 heroes off the top side of the map. They at least were able to escape with the Gyrocopter, but a decent win here for Empire.
They pinged the ward even as they were getting killed. They realized, yep, they definitely put a ward up there. Worth it though. Bottom lane to Prescott. Seems like he's baiting actually. They want to go for no one. There's the bushwhack. They have any more stuns? They need the gold snap to hit a bit further. No one's out of mana. You're right though. And with a Dragon Tail, Sunstrike's actually going to get the kill for Depressed Kid. What, you thought you could kill me? No, no, no. Depressed Kid was baiting the whole time. No one got a bit overzealous, too big for his britches, and Empire gets a free kill off that. However, Navi is capable of farming on their Gyrocopter still, so not the end of the world. Vitoon is slowly getting close to being online.
Yeah, he's got Ags now. It's flying on over, so he's in a really good spot. Vanscore is setting himself up here to die, but there he goes. Gets the D ward going, letting them know that, hey, I knew you had a ward here the whole time. I was actually the one watching you. Solar Crest about to be completed here on the Ench. As Depressed Kid yet again leading them into battle, and in fact it's another great catch. Roger just trying to put up some wards is going to be killed off and T-warded instantly. Tier 1 tower then is not going to be sieged in the end by Navi, as they will TP away Seneko and Vitoon both. However, Spectre yet again might be in a bad spot. The relocate's coming through. That is going to bring now the Gyrocopter into fight. Ramses is here with the arena. They're going to push Spectre up onto the high ground here and finish her off with the auto attacks from Vitoon. Just like before here, it's going to be another great pickoff onto the Spectre, as we were just trying to get a little bit more farm for Smiling Knights.
I mean, this is the right place, but this time Navi has the lineup to actually be able to catch her out, right? With both Relocate and the Storm. This global potential nullifies the impact Spectre had last game. And this was part of the reason why Empire had such an easy time last game on Smiling Knight, because they really could not kill her, give her a certain point. Like, once she got enough farm, it was impossible for anyone but the Mars to really catch up to her, and even then you have to rotate your whole team, which is usually a waste of resources. Now, much easier time for Navi. Why this draft I thought was a bit more solid. And they're going to go for it to no kill. Yeah, Vitoon could be in trouble. There's the bushwhack. Oh, the Shark's joining in. Dragon Tail, still available. Meteor, but the mech is there. And the sharpshooter's not going to hit. Disruption saving Vitoon. That mech healing, by the way, is absurd by Soneko. This is a build Nigma loves doing on GH. They go for mech plus Holy Locket, and then you just heal, like, carry full, honestly.
Okay. They're going to go again for Roger, though. They knew he was going to go back and try and D-ward. That's going to refill the vessel here of a Depressed Kid who just had the one charge left after failing to get the kill onto the Gyro mid lane. So he's going to be able to keep the pressure on now with that refill. Eul Scepter, second item for Depressed Kid. Next into the Aghanim Scepter as he starts to trickle more points into the Exord at level 14.
Slowly but steadily getting a bigger team fight as the Invoker becomes that threat, but similarly for Navi, getting a real carry as Gyrocopter comes online. And this time, I think due to the IO, you can go for a more glass cannony build, or just a stats build even, you know, with like Scotty, Butterfly, so you don't have to rely on the Satanic as much. BKB is still a necessity, but Satanic might not be an item you get next.
No one. He's in the line of fire. The smoke gank out from Empire is crossing the map. Depressed Kid, though, he might just find Ramses first. No, they've got vision on no one, setting him up with the Eul Scepter. Ramses here to counter-initiate, but Petushara with the Blink Dragon Tail. Sharpshooter's going to find him, and he's stunned for too long. Ramses, despite his best effort, is going to be forced to attempt to TP away, bushwhack, and now swept up by the tornado. He's going absolutely nowhere. This Depressed Kid with the vessel is blowing through him. 2 kills here for Depressed Kid. As Empire just keeping up the pressure, man. They kill Roger, immediately smoke, and find 2 more incredibly valuable pickups.
Yep. this Yosetaron and Volca, I was wondering, what's the combo here? Like, you know, I haven't seen Yos in a while. Obviously, the spell is very useful for the Orchid, but why else are you buying it? And I see now it's set up for the Dragon Tail. Very, very smart by Depresskit. I think maybe a fast Storm with level 3 Ball Lightning, depending on the Dragonite's positioning, might be able to get away, but certainly not now. Oh no, they find V2 here. The Cold Snap already used the Haunt. They're committing to this. Ion needs to save him to relocate, but he's too far away.
You don't have
V2
reload?
is going to die. Oh, they don't have reload. Never mind. Yeah.
Oh.
So Naiko wouldn't have healed him anyway. He just had to retreat.
Rough spot. Sneko was just so dedicated. This ward spot has been absolutely huge to Team Empire. We finally at least have gotten the vision down, but for what now? Gyro is dead. You can't fight. You don't have any damage. You just ended up using Arena coming off cooldown now, but Roshan already on a 3rd HP is going to go down. This ward spot absolutely huge. The one that they're using the Ripper on. It has been so crucial towards Empire's early successes here in these fights. 2 kills onto Roger, kill onto the Gyrocopter, and then the Wisp barely escaping there. It's been all so crucial here for Empires. Now they're going to get this first Aegis in hand for the Spectre, who has now Manta Style and Blade Mail completed. Same build as last time, Avo, next into the Eye of Scotty.
Okay. Yeah, I think this build suits him again, right? You're up against the same carry, so you're just concerning yourself with that. Scotty even better now, as you'll be reducing the IO's healing. Much more important than Trim Protectors. So I think Smile Knight's pretty satisfied with this. I want to see the changes V-Tune is making, you know, in his build. You know, once he goes, yeah, there's the BKB, right? But instead of going for Satanic, he immediately goes for damage. Not only, I think, would he have made this change because of the IO, but I think he would have made this change anyway, acknowledging one of the issues they had last fight. Oh no, the combo again. So you has the Bushwhack, and that's going to hit perfectly. There's the Disruption to save him, but Tushar is waiting for the Dragon Tail. He's not Ball Lightning anywhere. No one's down.
They got
Roger might pay for this. A Tornado cancel TP. Why don't you disrupt yourself now, Roger? Empire takes 2 kills. Another one on no one. It doesn't seem like this Storm is that hard to catch for Empire.
Dude, that was a blind tornado, by the way. Depresskit just throwing that one, hoping to try and catch Roger, that I think was so hyped that he was. I can't imagine what the energy is like here for the Team Empire. I mean, they just beat NaVi in Game 2 after a really great performance from them. They're going with basically kind of the same draft for both themselves and NaVi. Sure, the mid laners are a bit different, comfort heroes for both, but it's like, I think all that they have to tell themselves is, hey guys, let's just play the exact same game we did last time. We beat them then, we can do it again now.
Yes. I agree. I think they're having an incredibly solid performance right now. And NaVi is struggling to make some of their picks work. They're struggling to be able to kill the Empire heroes to give enough space for the Gyrocopter. That said, though, NaVi's closing in on a big point of inflection. 2 big ones, actually. The BKBs, really. The BKB on Storm, they already got the BKB on V-Tune, and maybe you wait for the Crystallis for a bit more damage. Once you have those, you can force 5-on-5 engages, like, for example, in the bottom lane. There's an Arena already used, but the Shard has a BKB. However, they're going to kill the Depresskit immediately, so the Depresskit's down for the count. That's a big kill here for NaVi. Looking for Vanscore next. Not as important, but maybe unkillable. No, it's an Enchantress, right? It's Enchantress 5. The TP, Vanscore, pretty cheeky, but not going to get away with his life.
Yeah, fantastic jump in. That's Ramses again, man. Really making these plays. Stormin with the Orchid, and the follow-up is there instantly. So much burst damage here available to threaten the life of the Invoker. That's not going to stop him from, you know, going straight eggs, though, Avo. He's nearly maxed the egg zone. He knows that he's hitting his timing to be transitioning now into the damage dealer, or at least a secondary source of damage, while Spectre still continues to bolster her farm, get these items online, and then she can, you know, finally carry the baton. It's looking great so far, and for those haters saying what is he building, you know, the Cataclysm for, the combo is this. It's literally just Dragon Tail into Cataclysm. That's it. That's all they need, and then they can start these fights off amazingly.
Or Bushwhack, actually. Bushwhack can catch multiple people. That's enough for Cataclysm as well, by the way. And the tree breaks as you bring down, so it's, I think, pretty solid. It's a good idea. I think you have a lot of sources of stun here. You could even set up for your own with Yule Scepter, honestly, which adds to the combo. Like, I think Kata is very, very good this game.
Real quick.
If Storm was having trouble surviving, think again.
Yeah, absolutely. A quick note, though. Quick note. Because of the way that Disruption and things like Supernova work, hold that thought, no one down bottom. They know he's nearby because he's dropped the Remnant. In fact, I think we have vision on him. We do. They're just waiting for the jump in. Petushar with another Tinker Ward is going to get a pick off as the Van Score is going to land the killing blow, but no one looking to try and split push one more wave is going to be punished by that, scouted by the superior warding of Team Empire.
Van scores Tinker Wards, man. Second time that nets him a kill on no one. Or sorry, nets him an important kill. Last time it was actually on Ramses. But still, these Tinker Wards are been on point from Van score. You don't usually expect these, right? And also, what are you gonna start de-warding these random spots because they somehow put a ward down there expecting you to push at the dead lane this way? That's quite a proactive move by Empire. Very impressive.
I like it. I like it. And real quick, to get back to the note, as we did have a Sunstrike there, we were talking about Cataclysm. Because of the way that the game works, when you're in Disruption, when you're in Supernova, as well as another one of these cases, you're not on the map. You're physically not on the map, which means that you're not going to actually spawn the 2 Cataclysm Sunstrikes, right? So just keep that in mind, because it's not like you disrupt them and we can cast Cataclysm and they're just instantly respawning or coming out with the 2 Sunstrikes. It doesn't work like that, okay?
The option that you have as Empire, though, great against Shadow Demon, is you have to route it back with the Haunt. If you Cataclysm after the Haunt's been used, there's no way Shadow Demon can stand his ground. I mean, I want to commend Roger for his courage, but there's a limit to how courageous he can be. And he's just going to die to the Spectre at some point. So you can just Haunt first and then force him back and then go for the Dragon Tail or the Bushwhack combo, and it works fine. And like I said, since Bushwhack is enough for stun, I think that sets up nicely. It can even catch multiple heroes, and I think they might just be able to put him close enough to get multiple Sunstrikes to hit them. I'm unsure about that. It depends on how they're tied around the tree.
All right, we're grouping up now for Navi. I like the strategy. Their team fights are looking pretty strong here, especially with a BKB ready to go on Storm. BKB on Vitoon now. We're going to be looking to push this mid-tier 1 tower. Tornado easily dodged here. Move speed too high here on Vitoon, even slowed by the Spectral Dagger. He's pretty darn fast. Eye of Scotty has just been delivered for Smiling Knight. I think, well, I don't know if they want to go in here. Ramses, there's a Sunstrike Disruption to save him, as no one immediately diving the backliners, trying to get this kill, at least on a Depressed Kid. There he is with the Orchid. He had Dust prepared. They have at least dispatched of the Wisp, but he's got buyback immediately back into the fight. Smiling Knight, though, has been able to jump onto Vitoon and finish him off in the meantime. Now looking for more, as we had to use the arena already. Ramses held in place by the Bushwhack, finished off. Soneko's going to relocate back, but they're here for Roger, and they've got another kill. Team Empire, they will lose the mid laner, but they pick up 4 kills in exchange.
This is when you start to see one of the biggest limitations that we mentioned a couple of times in the Navi draft, which is the core-to-core matchup. You know, I think no one played that perfectly. He went for Depressed Kid. He stops the backline. He actually didn't just stop the Depressed Kid, but also was annoying the Enchantress halfway through. It didn't matter, because your 2 carries, when they fight head-on, it happens to be that Spectre wins every single time, especially with a Blade Mail. How do you deal against that? Especially with Petushara joining in as a secondary core, then get these easy kills and still have him dealing a fair amount of damage. Once he get Ags, this becomes even harder. In fact, he just got it. So it is looking scary for Navi. This Gyrocopter is just not doing enough, and I don't know if he ever...
He's farmed. He is farmed, but I agree completely with you there, Avo. It's this concept of quite... Oh, hold on, they're fighting in the mid lane. Dragon Tail is out. No one, though, looking for Seiyu. That's not really the kill that they were hoping for, especially after using the BKB. They wanted more, but they'll have to at least settle for the squirrel for now. It's support for support. DD Rune, though, scouted by Ramses. Roshan might be up in the next 10 seconds to 3 minutes after that. We'll know in this 10-second period. But either way, we're going to hold on to this bottle, get ready to go. Reaver on Gyrocopter, so it looks like he is going to go for the Satanic first, definitely valuing that to make sure he can steal himself up and go 1v1 versus the Spectre. But I wanted to touch back onto that point, Alvaro, because I think it was a great one. It's this idea of if you have someone who's going to be great at cutting backlines, like a Storm Spirit, but you're able to one-up them, your strategy just falls apart. Storm, without backup, is very limited by his mana, and by diving that far for those kills, he doesn't really have anything left to... There's no gas left in the tank after that. If Spectre's immediately back onto your lines, even faster than you are.
Yep. And not only is Spectre going to force your supports away or might even kill him, but one of the biggest assets of here is that I think Vitoon is realizing this with a Satanic pickup, is, yeah, in theory, my healing is covered by Io, but can I even stay with me if Spectre just murders him every single time? Or it? You know, there's no option for Soneko. He might need to... I mean, there's a moment where Soneko might just pick up... he has Ghost Scepter already. He might pick up an A on disc. Oh, no one. They're going in. Tushara, Initian, there's a Haunt as well. They want to go for Roger first. Cataclysm. They hit Soneko with a Cataclysm. That's going to be one support dead, two supports dead for in favor of Empire. And
that could have been so much worse, though, Avo. They relocated the gyro bottom to push one more wave. Empire saw this, smoked up, looked to punish because they weren't actually sitting on top of a ward, but they knew they'd be in the triangle. And now Roshan is up. We have to fight over this for NaVi, but we don't have the Wisp. But thankfully, they still have Vatoon because they did not relocate him back. He had to go back home instead.
Shard for Smiling Knight here. Tushara. We see the power of the Shard last game, but Tushara is hunting for more kills. Oh no! He's going to find Vtoon. He has the Dragon Tail. Can they get here in time? Empire running towards Vtoon. The Tornado will give them a couple more seconds, but they're lacking any sort of slows here, and they know NaVi is lurking in the shadows. You have to be a bit careful because NaVi...
That DD is scary, man. That DD Satanic is too scary.
That's a good scan to check, though. There was a moment of Empire going, are they lurking in the shadows or just baiting us? Can we go in? But they scanned just in case, and they saw more people there. Well played. Really, really on-point scan as well, because it was actually just barely missing the gyro, catching everyone in the trees. You got to have a good map sense to be able to do a scan like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good game sense, good game knowledge here by Empire being exhibited. Real quick, just to get us caught up, because we did talk over the Roshan attempt and just merely acknowledge it after the team fight. Aegis now on Smiley Knight with the Shard as well, so he now has the, what is it, Shadow Step, I believe, or just the Dispersion active is now what it is, pardon me.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I think, other than the Aegis, is we now have Cheese on Depressed Kid. And this Cheese is a major problem for Storm, of course, because while you do silence him, you're not going to stop him from using any of his items. So we can just, you know, kind of take you for a bit of a ride, get you to waste all of his mana trying to get you killed, and then before Soul Burn's activated, pop the Cheese and keep fighting. You're good to go.
Yep. I agree. And it makes it difficult for NaVi. The further this goes to execute these fights perfectly. You know, as you said, now you have the Cheese as an issue. Later, you might even have the Aegis if they don't want to give it to the Spectre necessarily. I mean, Spectre's even going to die. You know, coming to the late game. There comes a point where Gyrocopter will just be missing that damage. Smiling Knight feels so free this game that he feels like he can go for the Moonshard build yet again. Because what he's lacking is damage, not tankability.
Top tower is under attack.
So do you think that's what it stems from? You think it's, I need more damage, I'm not concerned about my life this game, I'm going to go for the Moonshard? Hold that thought. ED Rune, spawn. Okay, she's going to pick it up. At what cost, though? They do have backup here, though. Smiley Knight with Aegis, though, old as ever. He's actually going to go ahead and use that Dispersion to go ahead and make sure there's more illusions chasing after him. That is going to be enough to scare away NaVi, but we're actually rotating more heroes over. Petushara and Slyrak form now, ready to go on in. It's going to be Ramses, though, first. It does manage to find the Invoker, pinning him to the walls of the arena, and they're going to be able to blow him up. No one immediately making the dive on him. He buys back instantly, though, and the Cataclysm collects both supports from the fountain.
Oh, no.
Ramses, slowed to a crawl, will be able to escape, but they got no one.
No one. They Dragon-tailed, and they stopped his TP. No one. He's trying to do so much in these fights, and he's almost accomplishing it, but as you said, he runs out of mana. And then he has to desperately TP away. It's so difficult because Petushara is always there. He has his number. Empire now can push the high ground, if anything, to at least force a buyback. They know there's no IO, so there's no way that this Gyrocopter can beat Smiling Knight right now.
Voice lines coming through from NaVi here. Empire already sieging this tier 3 tower, still have Aegis in hand here. That Fortify is not going to bother them a bit here. Petushara way too tanky. They've even given him the alacrity now. He's got Elder Dragon form ready to go in 10 more seconds. Yeah, call down, not going to do anything about this one either. Aegis still available for 2.5 more minutes. And I think this, we've only got a couple seconds here left on the lifespan for these barracks with that Elder Dragon form now out. Look at that attack speed.
I mean, the fact that Petushara also became a secondary core for Empire made this already egregious weakness even bigger, right? Because not only you have to deal with a Spectre matchup, which is already...
Oh,
Ramses.
They know where he is. Depressed Kid, he's got Cold Snap ready to go. He's going to guess incorrectly, though. And that should be Ramses escaping. They are trying to hunt him down. Ramses with a TP and a BKB should be safe here, so he's just trying to waste a bit of time. But Empire will not oblige him. They'll look for more objectives.
Yeah, so not only are you having to deal with the Spectre already, a really difficult matchup, but you also have to deal now with the DK, which is becoming a real threat for you. And your Storm and Mars just cannot keep up. They haven't really found farm either. Storm has really fallen off. A potential win condition into this mid game, really taken away by the fact that no one had to do so much as a space creator. Empire, they really are looking very solid right now. NaVi need to get an insane initiation, somehow avoid the cataclysms, break the backlines, win this core-to-core matchup, and then proceed to take objectives afterwards.
Yeah.
All
It's
in a
doable,
simple
Avo.
day's work. Doable, yes.
That's a lot of things to do, but it is doable. If they can just get the same exact initiation, this time Depresskit doesn't have buyback, right? I mean, we've done it before. Oh, and neither does Seiyu, by the way, who was instrumental in canceling that TP of no one. So it's possible.
But,
but
no, the last one was
these next
the DK.
Okay, thank you. It's going to be rather difficult here, though, as Empire are going to smoke up and look for another fight.
I mean, Pitushara just sees no one and he wants to go for him. Look, he just sees him and and he's not even going to blink. He actually thought no one had some backup, Pitushara. Just going to initiate. He's not afraid of anything. Cataclysm used with the pushback. They save the disruption, but expensive for Roger's life. No one trying to break the backlines together with Ramses. He has to TP. He's leaving Ramses behind. They've lost Fitoon. Ramses trying to run away, but he's been bushwhacked. They're dealing with his illusions first. Now for the real one. They actually sent him back next to the Hurricane Pike. Ramses, no chance to get back home. Soneiko has no partner, and soon no life either. No one's trying to at least deter the aggression from Empire, but the Ghost Scepter will save Soneiko. Oh, never mind. Get a relocate. I spoke too soon. He was dead.
Oh, no. Oh, what a fight. What a fight from Empire. That one was a thing of beauty. Pitushara, the patience to jump onto the right target, recognizing that the problem in these fights has been a Ramses. He's been the one that's controlling the Invoker. Now they're going to just break this base wide open. Bottom lane of Barracks about to be deleted. We have the Toon, but he's not going to have his Wisp for a whole nother minute, and they're not going to have these bottom lane of Barracks any longer either. Mid lane is pushing incredibly far as well, so they might just be able to get themselves not quite megas, but definitely a tier 3 tower. The zip, the zap around from no one to continue trying to cut these waves, but you know, Empire, they're coming in here relatively soon, and now that moonshot is completed here by Smiley Knight. Look at the attack speed with Alacrity and Solar Crest both on him.
Yeah, you've just pushed so quickly on Smiling Knight, in addition to being able to, again, decimate the poor Gyrocopter. I don't want it to be a defeatist, Richie, but with 22k lead for Empire, with a better core-to-core matchup, even more solid cores in general as well, what options are left for NaVi? Besides a Miracle Smoke? I mean, Electric Vortex might be it. That might be the last bit of team fight you have, maybe with a Shard on Mars, and you get an insane Spear. Maybe one of Empire's teammates disconnects, and someone else has to play that hero, and they're not an Amiga, so they lose.
Maybe we go, but damn, Pitushara, you're playing a really good game. Ramses, we're going to switch you mid-match.
Oh no, too soon. Empire's not Gambit, okay? You don't get to post their players.
True. Yeah. I mean, it's coming down to it. NaVi, if they're going to come back from this one, it'll be the story to tell, you know, all the kids that start playing Dota 3. This is going to be one hell of a comeback. A 22k net worth lead now amassed by Team Empire. Dota Plus giving them a 100% win rate, as we might just be approaching what could be the final fight. Pitushara in Slyrak form. He's found the initiation. They've already killed Roger without even the Cataclysm. They didn't even manage to catch Depresskit with the BKB. He, in fact, turns and fights. Vitoon, though, is getting absolutely demolished. He's lost his Wisp. There's the bash out from Smiley Knight, disarmed and killed off by the Sharpshooter. It's Team Empire who will grab this game away from NaVi and eliminate them from TI. Well, qualifiers.
Yes, but still worthy. Empire not losing a single game. Remember, they're starting from losers brackets. They managed to make it in the upper division, but it really didn't quite make the cut there to the upper brackets. Doesn't really matter to them, as they're going to just be the Grim Reapers of this bottom part of the close qualifiers. What an impressive performance by them. I mean, granted, I gotta say that over time, as the draft developed, it did seem like Empire had a considerable edge. We gave a lot of hype to the Storm and this IO Gyrocopter, and they didn't feel that great as it went into the game. So maybe we overestimated that power spike for them. I still think it was better than last draft, but not by a lot. But Empire, I don't know. I guess the thing I'll say is don't pick Gyro into Spectre. I think Empire's taught a valuable lesson to everyone down there, that if you also win the first game against Empire, you're going to lose the next two. So lose the first game, win the next two.
It's a bit of a trap here. We'll see Team Empire picking the Gyrocopter, twice into the Spectre. It didn't end up working out for them in Game 2 or Game 3. We'll be able to break down that series a little bit more, and joined by Daniel Offen after a quick break.